midfielders. In terms of goalkeepers, Gary Neville clear that United need to sign one. Altay Bahindi is starting in goal once again, despite the fact Andre Onana was fit, he was on the bench. Where do we stand in terms of United signing a goalkeeper in this window?
Well, the player that they're targeting, Sanne Lammens, was not involved in the Royal Antwerp squad this weekend. It was their decision to remove the goalkeeper because of speculation surrounding his future. Talks continue with Manchester United over a deal for the 23-year-old. The deal on the table looks to be around £17.3 million. So again, more investment from Manchester United. What's currently being discussed at the moment is the structure of the finance and the payment terms. So you'd imagine this one is going to progress over the course of this week. Then Manchester United get a new goalkeeper. Then they've got the question about what do they do with Andre Onana moving forward. Does he want to sit on the bench for the next 6 to 12 months? So, yeah, big questions about what happens next at Manchester United. But one of the positions that Gary Neville has cried out for, they're going to get a really talented young international goalkeeper, potentially, that could come in and improve Manchester United's goalkeeping department.
Mark says he's a talented young goalkeeper. Is he good enough, already enough, to come in and be United's number one?
I think there are question marks coming into that kind of environment because he's very calm. The mentality is good. Spoken to goalkeeping coaches about him, and he's been seen as a rising star in Belgian football for quite a while, but he was at Club Brugge and he couldn't get past him on Mignolet. He's been excellent for Club Brugge, a former Liverpool goalkeeper. So he went to Antwerp. If you look at his numbers last season, they were excellent. If you look at something called post-shot XG differential, it's basically how many shots is he saving that the data wouldn't expect him to save, and it was very, very high. Antwerp had one of the best defensive records in Belgium last season. So all of that stuff's great. But it's a huge leap to then suddenly be the number one at Manchester United. But one really interesting thing, when Ruben Amorim was at Sporting were very interested in Lammens then and were tracking him then. So there's obviously a like there that's been there for quite some time.
Just educate me on this Monday morning. Post-shot XG.
So basically, you have a plus or a minus, a post-shot XG differential. It's basically how many shots or how many goals are going in that the data either expects it to or not. So if you've got plus 14.5, which he had, basically the club could have conceded 14 more goals if he wasn't in goal, effectively.
There you go.
Looks like Manchester United could also be busy. They have players to sell and positions to fill. Yesterday, they drew 1-1 away at Fulham. And after the game, Gary Neville said the club must buy a midfielder before the transfer window closes. So last week, Gary Neville said that Manchester United need to sign a goalkeeper. Yesterday, he says they need to sign a midfielder. Mark, given the money spent already in this window, is it possible for United to go after a midfielder?
Manchester United have spent over £200 million so far in this summer, which is quite significant when Sir Jim Ratcliffe spent most of last season trying to shave costs, make staff redundant, try and make the operation a lot more streamlined because there was a lot of staff there. So they're trying to be creative and clever with what they do, but they have spent significantly in revitalising that front three, new faces at the top end of the pitch. But now it's funny, Gary Neville saying last week, need to sign a goalkeeper. Now he's saying I need to sign a midfielder. It feels like they're the two areas of concern for Manchester United. Goalkeeper, a six, someone who can bring energy and legs to that United midfield, which is going to be key. They have to be conscious of PSR, Manchester United, despite being one of those sides that turn over significant sums of money. They still have to respect the rules, and there has been a lot of spending there. Outgoings are going to be key between now and Monday, depending on how much they can generate there. But you'd imagine they will still be in the market to sign players, but they're going to have to be creative financially. Maybe a loan with an obligation might be something they look at. But yeah, definitely two positions of concern for Ruben Amorim. And
Carlos Baleba feels like a slightly too expensive deal to do for Manchester United. He was taken off at half-time in Brighton's game against Everton yesterday, but Fabian Hertzler said it was tactical, nothing to do with injury, nothing to do with any speculation around Manchester United. Kevin, another player who's emerged, Angelo from Stuttgart. He's a player of interest. There's not been any club-to-club contact, but would that be a good fit when you know what United are looking for in a midfielder?
I don't think so, actually. I really like him. He's great passer of the ball, sets the tempo of a game, can control a game, but actually has a minder at Stuttgart in Atakan Karatsor. He does all the dirty work, he does all the challenges, and Stiller can just get on with it and set the tempo. him alongside Bruno Fernandes, I don't think is that right fit in midfield. The other thing as well is that financially, it's not a deal Stuttgart want to do. And they've dug their heels in with Nick Woltemade, not let him go to Bayern. They're not going to be bullied about this either. So it just financially, in terms of fit, it doesn't really feel like a deal I could see United doing at this stage.
Manchester United aim to make Sanne Lammens their 5th summer signing before deadline day of the transfer window. Ruben Amorim has already been backed with roughly £200 million this summer and hopes to add a goalkeeper to his squad before the European window shuts on Monday, the 1st of September. United are in advanced talks over a deal for Lammens, who was left out of the Royal Antwerp squad for their Belgian Pro League victory over KV Mechelen at the weekend. It is understood Antwerp would like a total package in the region of £21.66 million, €25 million, for their star shot-stopper, who has already agreed a move to Old Trafford in principle. Amorim is keen to improve the goalkeeper options at his disposal and is well aware he needs to have better competition for Andre Onana over the starting spot. The 29-year-old is set to miss several matches due to his anticipated participation in the Africa Cup of Nations later in the year. And there is also an argument he could improve if he has serious competition for his starting position. Manchester United hope to reach an agreement for Sanne Lammens imminently and would ideally unveil him before the weekend. There is even a chance he could be introduced to the Old Trafford crowd ahead of their Premier League clash with Burnley on Saturday afternoon. Writing for GiveMeSport transfer guru Fabrizio Romano issued a fresh update on the transfer and assured fans that talks were at a very advanced stage for the goalkeeper. The negotiations are at a very advanced stage, with an agreement already in place with the goalkeeper, Romano said. Lammens has accepted a long-term deal at Old Trafford, with a salary way lower than the rumoured request of Paris Saint-Germain's Gianluigi Donnarumma or the one of Martinez, which probably explains why Manchester United didn't proceed with either of those two deals so far. Lammens wants to move to Manchester United, and that's the reason why he didn't make the starting lineup for Royal Antwerp this weekend. What happens next? Talks between the two clubs are proceeding fast, with initial discussions around €17 million plus add-ons to reach a €20 million package, but Royal Antwerp want €25 million, £22 million, in order to get the deal done. There is not a big gap in valuation, especially with Lammens keen on joining Ruben Amorim's Red Devils and making his dream move happen. All parties anticipate an agreement to happen before deadline day.